Map veto. Where do we get to play today is the question on everyone's minds. And we'll see it. It's going to be Consulate, Coastline, and Border as the deciders. So one repeat in that Consulate to start us off. But other than that, we get to see all new maps. And I love to see Coastline in there. We've been seeing more and more of that lately. And honestly, it's a great map. It's really fun to see. And I think teams are really starting to lean into it.
I mean, Consulate is a map that Rogue just played against Hyper. They walked away with a 6-1. You know, they've played it a number of times. Coastline also tends to be a pretty decent Rogue map. And then Border is a map that any team that's been around for a long period of time is obviously going to have some success from. Now, I do think it's worth noting, for those that are not the most familiar with Nomads, this is a team that has also been around for a long time. So it's not like there's some fly-by-night organization that's been tossed together in the dark in order to try to win a spot here. This is a real bona fide team that are very capable of competing with the best of the best.
Yeah, I think they've definitely got the talent for it. Now, but the problem is, and what you can't just have innately as a person is experience. You know, no matter how long you've been around, if you haven't been playing at the highest level for as long as a team like Rogue, that's going to put you at a disadvantage. And they are definitely the underdogs in this match. We shouldn't mistake that. But as you touched on, there is upset potential. What we have to take a look at when we're going into this is, how are Rogue going to be playing? Because that's going to be a big deciding factor. As much as I want to put something in Nomad's court, it is going to come down to how does Rogue play. Because sometimes what we have seen in the past are teams that, you know, they go into the situation, they're like, oh, we got this, no problem. And they can play a little bit too loose. Not pointing a finger at Rogue in particular. I'm just saying it is a mentality that teams are known to slip into. And if that opportunity is presented to Nomads, then that's where we have our upset that could potentially happen. That's the slip that Rogue needs to avoid in order to maintain the advantage that they seemingly have based on their experience going into this. But, again, speculations abound. Let's get into the match. We've got Consulate for you guys. Starting things off, Rogue will be banning, and that means, of course, they will also be on defense.
So, I mean, because of the fact that Nomads are a bit more of a, how would you say it, unknown quantity in comparison to Rogue, it'll be fascinating to see what they prioritize here. I'd imagine some likely counter bans. I mean, Mav is a pretty good start. Lion banned out by Rogue. Mav being banned out by Nomads. That's just a sensible operator for this map.
Yeah, definitely makes sense. Both of these bans. Maverick, less influential in my mind on this map in particular. I could see leaving Maverick on the table, but getting rid of him is going to allow you to play a few more angles. The thing to keep in mind with how Maverick is as a player, as an operator, pardon me, is basically what he does is he makes it so your thought process in terms of angles is just completely ruined. All of it is just, it's gone out the non-existent anymore. In the past, it used to be a case where the way you could think about it going into a match was, okay, there's this doorway here, there's this angle here, there's this wall that's been opened up, this rotation that we have, and these are all the things in my immediate vicinity that I need to account for in terms of angle play and where I can be shot from. And even soft walls were something you had to consider as a possibility because of being marked through walls and just someone shooting you. You know, coordination is a real thing, especially at this level of play. But now with Maverick in play, what he does is effectively just throws all that out the window, and now you can be shot from anywhere at any time, no matter what. That puts more emphasis and stress on things like Valkyrie cams. Valkyrie being banned in this match is going to be important. Echo drones, Maestro cameras, bulletproof, just in general, information for the defenders becomes exceedingly relevant. And in a scenario where the attackers are allowed to brush up against the site before dealing with the roamers, it can be really troublesome, because usually if a roamer dies on a roam, he's going to get on cameras, right? If you have cameras for information in the proximity of a site, Maverick's in play, those dead roamers can call out that information. Now, usually you'll have players like Echo, players, for example, who will be in a position to gather that information even if they're not dead. But still, all I'm saying is that he is someone that forces a shift in the entirety of the meta, and that's why you'll see him banned on maps like Consulate, where he wouldn't be as relevant as, for example, a map like Clubhouse.
Thank you, sir.
But
as a caster, I appreciate these moments where you can really dive in, and I try to give you your space to let you just go, because I think it's fascinating as a bystander, even though we are co-casters, but also for the rest of viewership, etc., to really get in depth as to why there is this much thought process behind why operators are banned.
Well,
and I was being genuine.
We just we had there was a space to explain the Maverick ban. Huh?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm agreeing with you. I think it was
Thanks, Parker.
an excellent. You're very welcome.
All right, so Nomads, they have a decent lineup here, and they're setting up to clear the top floor. They've already done that, actually. As you can see, Sour has taken control of the top of Yellow Stairs. And from here, he's going to isolate that using the Claymore, making it so if anyone tries to late flank, there will at least be prompting, if nothing else. Now, there are still roamers, I believe, in the middle floor, trying to hold on to this attack ever so slightly. And that's, yes, indeed, going to be the Mira window placement inside a bathroom, trying to gather information and delay as long as possible. Eclipse is going to be playing on that position using the mute, an optimal operator for this situation, where you can lay down those jammers, you can trick them if you need to if there's a Thatcher, but what he does not have is a Jaeger ADS. Glitch going to lay down the Candela and force the mute to fall back, but look at that, from below, Glitch has been downed, and Slash will get another kill! Why did the call not happen? Oh, a huge mistake by Nomads, and Slash will just sweep up 2 easy frags. The information should have gone from Glitch to Thomas. Hey, I was down to the pre-opened hole from below. Don't push. But it didn't happen. Rainbow will get the refrag, but the damage is done. And Nomads in a bad position now.
Eclipse eliminating Execration means that gap is going to continue to widen. Sour holding on to that LMG of Zofia. Now, not really that strange, especially given that we saw Shuttle running that LMG on Zofia on the same map just last week against the match, or in the match against Hyper.
Yeah.
I mean, LMGs have a place in the sense that, you can continuously lay down as much suppressing fire as you want. You have tons of bullets for, those caliber-based destruction that needs to be done. Great angle here from the Maestro, as he's going to miss quite a bit of shots, actually, or the Eclipse, rather, not Maestro. My apologies. I was seeing the wrong color green when looking at Rainbow. Sour on the bottom of Spiral Stairs, and he's just going to try to find somebody. He sees one, but no! He can't capitalize, and Super, Mr. 1.6, the athleticism and the poise. Super just, look at this. They line right up. Oh my.
That was a feels bad right there. A terrible situation gone even worse for Nomads. Overall, the round did not look great, but oof, that just, oof. So, what happened there for Nomads? Ultimately, they got really distracted with the roamers in the middle floor. They also failed to isolate the top floor. While they did clear the entire top floor, they did not hold it for the entire round, allowing Rogue to push somebody through the Visa stairs to the top floor, get a flank on the main lobby, where they got the excretion of Thermite, if I'm not mistaken. And apart from that, Slash got 2 very free kills as he was holding the push into the bathroom. The player in bathroom managed to fall back unscathed. Everything went wrong for Nomads when they came into contact with that middle floor, and it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. Eventually, they managed to stop the bleeding and start pushing their players downstairs, but it was too little, too late, and Rogue had the round well in hand.
Would you say well in hand, though? Because, I mean, it all hinged on Super.
Yeah, I would. I do think that they had that really in their control. All of what I just talked about in that middle floor to bottom floor transition from Nomads, I didn't even touch on the fact that Nomads had yet to open up the garage. What was going on there? There was no pressure outside. They had a Thermite, but he wasn't playing outside garage. He wasn't waiting for his opportunity. It seemed like they were trying to get the batteries opened up, but they couldn't do that. Everything went wrong for Nomads when they came into contact with the middle floor, and they couldn't get to step number 2 of their strategy, which was open garage, push in and plant. Even if that wasn't their strategy, you want to open garage to open up lines of sight to cut off rotation. Even if you're trying to plant somewhere else, it doesn't matter. It's just it's a default part of any attack strategy onto the basement. So yeah, I think that was well in hand for Rogue.
Sour with that LMG yet again. I was talking earlier about the caliber-based destruction that you have for people that don't know when we say caliber-based destruction, because there is actually quite a surprising amount of viewers who don't exactly understand some certain ways that we say things. Caliber-based destruction is just simply using your bullets from your gun to open up walls. Now, unless it's a shotgun, you likely will have issues with the studs in the walls. I'm not going to make another studs joke because I've already hit my studs quota for the week. But typically your caliber-based destruction is going to be to open up floors, to open up lines of sight, to open up angles, etc. And maybe not be able to allow the rest of your team to traverse through it. You usually need some form of soft destruction or a shotgun there, but it'll at least allow you to see through it. So that LMG is really proficient at being able to open up huge parts of walls because you have so many bullets at your disposal. Even now, Sour has not reloaded, and he's sitting at 89 bullets. Repelled up on yellow as he knows that there's somebody up there. The Jaeger of Shuttle is playing a very, very close game by the window, and Sour, if he launches in a concussive blast, will likely figure that out. Down at the bottom of the stairs, Thomas from Nomads also trying to figure out where exactly the members of Rogue are, and look at that! Eclipse will miss quite a bit of shots, but end up tagging Thomas for about 50% as Eclipse and the Buck will both walk away with the same amount of HP. Eclipse almost missing again, but will finally get it, and a sigh of relief will get breathed out from Rogue, and Slash gets down to Glitch as he expends at least one Candela to do that. That's a good trade.
Rainbow will shut down Eclipse downstairs. Great job for him getting that refrag. And Super will fall off of the fight entirely. He's still got a C4, can still play downstairs, but Nomads have actually achieved control of this round. Quite spectacular in there. They just lost it, just like that. Nice kill for Easily and Shuttle. Shuttle's still in a power position on these yellow stairs, and X-Creation watching the entirely wrong angle. Sour starts coming up the yellow stairs too, but Shuttle's been playing this perfectly, and he is going to down the Zofia. The round is over. Rogue take it 2-1 or 2-0 their favor. There's just so many things that went wrong for Nomads, again, in that round. It all started with the trepidation of the Buck. As he was pushing out of the yellow stairs, he could have, at any point, peeked into Piano and killed Eclipse, who was focused on other things. He was completely distracted. But instead, he just waited on the angle. He waited and got peeked.
To be fair, the reason why he had that trepidation was because you had the Zofia hanging on rappel, and as Sour is feeding that information to the Buck, he has to be wary of, yeah, there's probably somebody in Piano, but you know that there's a Jaeger on yellow stairs. Where is he? And I don't think Sour knew the exact location. I think he expected him to be in the corner at the top of the stairs, but you make that wrong call and that Buck is dead no matter what. I think that's where the trepidation came from.
But see, that's what I would cite as a source for the opposite of, the confidence, the ability to know that I can push this because I have a teammate supporting me from the flank, I have the information coming in. That, in my mind, screams, seize the opportunity. Now, maybe it's just me, but yeah, I think there was an opportunity wasted there. All said, though, either way, that was not the only thing that went wrong for Nomads. They put a lot of emphasis on those yellow stairs, and clearly Eclipse was just able to hold it down. In fact, my mistake, not Eclipse, Shuttle was able to hold it down quite fiercely, as he was just playing with probably the perfect operator for that scenario. You've got a couple operators that can hold the yellow stairs well. One of them is Ella, as an example. You've got Jaeger, who's great. Clash can do a lot of work there. Maybe not hold it by herself, but she can do a lot of work there and can enable that. Smoke is excellent for that role. What do these operators have in common? They either have guns that are great for close-range engagements, or they have just great guns. Either way, a good operator to put in that position. Shuttle played it perfectly. Rogue took the round because of that yellow stairs control. That was the main thing for them. Now they're going to be going to the middle floor, it seems, because they have been successful on the bottom and the top. And they are now going to be much more comfortable, even if they lose this round, because they've got that lead of 2-0.
Rogue overall looking quite sharp. Dare I even say a little bit sharper than their matchup against Hyper. Could have been Hyper's unpredictability, or could have been Rogue coming into it, I think, underestimating their opponents.
Bomb located by attackers.
As you touched upon, I think correctly, when you're going up against a team that is a lesser known quantity, aka you don't play them every week, you don't scrim them every week, you don't really know the rhythm, you don't really know their style. So it makes it a little bit harder for you to necessarily match up against them. That could be what's happening here with Nomads, though. Rogue has been winning a lot of their gunfights. I said that even after pointing a finger at Eclipse, missing a lot of bullets downstairs inside a Piano on that Buck. Nomads being able to encircle this this upstairs hold very, very fast. Now, by garage and console office being used, this bomb site's going to be on the main floor. A double kill from Rogue as both Slash and Easily, the two anchors, take out Glitch and Rainbow. And then another kill from Slash, but he's going to miss it. There's a Claymore down, and he's going to go for the smoke, and he will secure the frag. Nomads has taken Super out, and the Pulse is off the board. It's going to leave just the Hibana and the Buck left. And the Hibana's going to put in some good work, and will need to do even more, but vaulting in through the window, Easily just anchors himself down and shreds Execration after a fine display of agility. That's 3-0 for Rogue, and I gotta think, Nomads here is probably trying to go very aggressive to maybe catch Rogue off guard. Maybe they've done some counter-stratting and they happen to notice that Rogue is a bit of a slow starter. Maybe Rogue is still setting up a minute into the round, 30 seconds into the round, 20 seconds into the round. Ultimately, if this is going to be their strategy, it's not going to work out because Rogue barely broke a sweat in that round in particular, whereas the first two were a little bit closer.
Here's the thing. With the way that Rogue is playing, it seems like, yes, they're getting their full setup done. First of all, they're being very thorough. I'm going to throw that out there. Great job to Rogue, not underestimating their opponents. However, the way that Nomad's trying to play by, getting a little bit aggressive, trying to find those openings, isn't going to work because Rogue is doing light setups, or so it seems. Well, they're fully fleshing out their bomb sites. They're also not getting too invested if they're feeling pressured. If they start getting attacked from somewhere, they're just, hey, I'm going to point my gun in that direction and I'll be fine. So that idea, that process is not going to work for Nomads if they keep trying to use it. Now, they're going to get to go back to an attack on the basement, and they know how Rogue chooses to defend this basement. They know the setup overall, and because of that, they can play to counter it. The mistake that Nomads made last time they went here was that they did not open the garage. Everything aside, they did not open the garage. Now, the reason it was so hard for them to open the garage last time, if I'm not mistaken, they did not have a Thatcher. And the lack of a Thatcher means it's hard to get past the Bandit and the Mute Jammers. They are abundant. This time they have chosen to bring him instead of trying to clear out the entire top and middle floor. So they don't have to rely on piano control in order to get those Bandit batteries or Mute Jammers. They can simply lay down an EMP and thermite the wall open. That's going to be so much better for Nomads if they can pull it off, though Shuttle is good at Bandit tricking, so we could still go either way.
I mean, the one thing I gotta say is that I've watched Nomads a lot. I've seen them come through other cursory leagues. I've seen them play in other events, and this is not the Nomads that typically shows up. I don't know if it's a combination of, I mean, maybe for some of them, it's late. I don't know. Maybe for some of them, they're not as prepared. Maybe they're off their game. But my overarching point is that this is a Nomads that is showing far more weaknesses than I've usually used to see from these players. And those weaknesses are going to continue. Thomas gets absolutely annihilated by a C4 as he's upstairs in connector.
No, that's not a great start. A pre-placed, or well, actually no, it might have just been a toss C4 to be honest, but either way, a C4 is a C4, and the damage is done. We've been seeing a lot more of those types of C4, predicting the entry point of your opponents and just placing them. It takes so little VOD review to understand where your opponent is going to come from on any map, and predict, just place a C4 and be ready for it. It is incredibly easy to do, and more teams are starting to figure that out. That aside, I mean, you don't need Valkyrie cams. You just need to wait for the opportunity, wait for the sound, and Eclipse made it work there. Now, setup from Rogue, continuing to stifle the Nomads' attack. This is the same thing that they did in the previous attempt on this basement hold. And just like the previous attempt on the basement hold, as soon as Eclipse feels pressured, even a little bit, he falls right on back. Super will be shut down as he attempts to flank. Sour, great play there to get that kill. You can see that Eclipse is playing by the zone machine. This is a very dangerous position, but he makes it work. Execration goes down, and Rogue extend their lead just ever so slightly. Eclipse did eat a lot of damage, though, in that fight, so he will very likely need to be reset as Nomads start to open up these angles. Now, I didn't quite catch if the garage had been opened up, but the thermite is dead, which means if it's not open, there you go. Panel number 3 and a little bit of panel number 2 has been opened up. That's good control for Nomads. And the fact that Rainbow has just gotten Eclipse, even better.
And I mean, Eclipse didn't really have that much left. Probably would have been more detrimental if another operator had possibly gone down, but that's still, That's tough. I mean, he'd already used his C4 earlier on, so it's not like he still has that available to him. Shuttle goes for a pre-fire. He's going to drop one. There's a second body there. Can they get past Shuttle? No! Shuttle's going to walk away from it with a double kill and easily finishing things off. Rogue just at the moment on a tear, 4-0. What a play from Shuttle on those stairs, and then off-site, the Mira pushing up. Rogue just right now unkillable.
I got to point a finger at something in particular when it comes to that Shuttle play on the yellow stairs. What we just saw from him, the back and forth thing looks really cool. It worked out well. It shouldn't work. It was a bad play. It should have gotten shut down. A simple pre-fire, and that's just done. It's done. It's over. Like as soon as you make your first peek, if they address the angle, then the follow-up, and they keep pre-firing it, then that should go the way of the attackers 9 times out of 10. The fact that he was allowed to do that rests solely on the shoulders of the Nomads players. So a little bit of mistake there. Great job to Shuttle holding those yellow stairs, though. He did his job. That's the most important thing. And Nomads didn't have the right tools to account for that. Now, 4-0, like you talked about, untouchable, looks like Rogue. It just complete dominance here. Nomads struggling to get anything going in their favor. They're going to have to go to an attack of the top floor. You see now Rogue going once more. Because they've been winning every single one of their defenses, they've just been going in a circle with these site selections. And they have also chosen to avoid the new site. Dun, dun, dun. I mean, we've been seeing that a lot. A lot of teams just not feeling it. It's a kind of a 50-50 split, though, I feel right now in the community. And it seems like it's working like a new map. Every time with the new content, whether it's an adjustment to a site or a map or an entirely new map, there's always like half of the teams are like, nah, I don't want to play with that. And then the other half are like, yeah, this is great. So easily, spawn peak. I'm not going to say that is like a predictable spawn peak, but it's probably one of the most common in Siege. So the fact that it was not accounted for leaves something to be desired.
Yeah, and I mean, that's a Ying, too, that you just lost. The only thing that probably could have been worse was losing the Hibana, because that would have been your sole hard breacher, though, I mean, Hibana is not a requirement on Consulate, as we've seen before.
Right.
But, I mean, Ying is definitely an operator who can just absolutely cut right through a site. Cut off rotates. She can absolutely stun everybody in there, and the fact that you're not probably going to be moving when you're totally blind, and depending on the way that you use those Candelas, you can probably guarantee at least 1 or 2 kills. A pair of grenades will get tossed down here, and Shuttle will lose about 60 HP as he tries to... He's going to try to Jaeger trick, actually. He's going to put down those ADSs and continue to ADS juggle. But you've got 3 guns that are going to be looking for him with... a lot of fervor in Glitch, in Sour, as well as Thomas. But they fall off, Slash eliminating Thomas. That's the Buck that was playing on Repel, similar to Glitch. He was playing over top of the skylight there. And Glitch and Sour are the 2 that were on Repel. They're going to rotate because they realize that, well, they're not making any progress or headway where they need to. And Rogue is just feasting on Nomads right now. Eclipse takes to the fight on the bottom of yellow stairs, and now Shuttle also looking for another fight as Execration and Glitch will have to do a lot of heavy lifting in a 2v5. Time is on the side at the moment of the attackers. They have an opportunity to make a comeback, but it's going to have to happen somewhat quickly.
I don't mean to be the doomsayer, but it certainly looks like Nomads is about to meet theirs. And Rogue are just peeking everything, getting kills by doing it. These are things that should not work. Execration's going to get the first kill for his team, and Eclipse will go down. So this is still salvageable, in theory, but tall task. Tall task. He's going to move his way over to the spiral stairs. It's a good position to do some damage. Looks like he's going to be meeting Easily, who might be playing by the long distance. No, it's actually, pardon me, Slash inside of A. And he will be the first one to get into contact with the Hibana. A nice peek there, but poorly timed. Execration wins the fight. Choosing not to reload his primary weapon, though, he will peek into Easily, who kills him with relative ease. Glitch now the final attacker. And as he comes up the spiral, he's going to give away his position. And, oh, whoa. Okay, position given away. Easily will come off the angle and reassess from the connector.
Oh.
Glitch lands the shot. It's a 2 versus 1. This is totally doable. He drops the diffuser though, or fails to pick it up, and as he moves into connector, he's not going to have time to do anything anyway. So the round's over. Nice clutch from Shuttle, and 5-0 Rogue on the first half.
What an impressive series here for Rogue, at least for the time being. Shuttle in particular just seems to be playing out of his mind.
Absolutely.
And now we'll move to attack, which Rogue looked pretty good on in the last sample size we saw in USN against Hyper. And I have no doubt that this will go Rogue's way. I mean, there's still lots of ground to go, but you're asking Nomads to now string 5 rounds in a row. Really tough to do.
Yeah, I think we're going to be moving to map 2 soon.
Looking at the way that this game has played out so far, this is a Herculean task. You know, if we looked at the Cloud9 Obey matchup when it was 4-1 for C9, and we said, yeah, this is going to be really hard for Obey to do. This is going to be even harder for Nomads to do because you have to go perfect over a stretch. It's not easy to go perfect over a stretch. We don't see it all that often at all. Doesn't matter how mismatched a team may be. Doesn't matter how practiced a team may be. Doesn't have anything to do with how new a team may be. You just don't really see it. It's usually an anomaly. So having it happen once already with Rogue, asking it to get repeated, yeah, that's probably without, not within reach. So we have Coastline up next, which is Rogue's map.
Yep.
That'll be interesting to watch. For this attack on Consulate, I think the big focus is going to be if Rogue gets a little bit too aggressive and they bite off more than they can chew, it's easy for the defenders to just gun them down as they enter if Rogue doesn't prepare themselves for gun battles. And I mean, you've got on Nomads a lot of good shots. So this is something that will definitely bode well for them on defense, even if, as I said, it's a Herculean task.
Question is, can they pull it off? They will go to the middle floor to attempt it. It's going to be tough, that's for sure. Middle floor, curious choice as the potentially final defense. Being on match point, you would expect something top floor, bottom floor. These are the more standard sides. Middle floor, technically just as standard in terms of how much people like to play it. But yeah, it just seems like it's not where you want to go for something to be rock solid on your defense. But we'll see if Nomads can do it. They have already lost some HP on Glitch for whatever reason. Doesn't seem like any engagements have actually happened. Maybe taking some team damage, well, whatever the case. Potentially easily putting a bullet into his side from the connector window. And he will also put a bullet into the head of Thomas. So good kill for Easily. Good start. And a second one for Super. The aggression for Nomads really not paying off so far. Also some missed reinforcements. That wall that was open in connector that allowed Easily to get that kill, that should be reinforced if you're going to play inside a CEO corner. That was a huge mistake for Nomads. They've also lost half the HP of the Bandit, so Rogue really trying to push this to map number 2 with a 6-0, and they are very close to doing just that.
Yeah, they're closing in at this point on that feat, and crazy to think that Rogue was originally ineligible to compete in USN until the latest roster change because they had a citizen of Canada as well as a citizen of Mexico.
Yep.
A very diverse roster by North American standards, but it would typically disqualify a team from USN. Picking up Super and Shuttle, of course, opened up the possibility for them to compete here, and Rogue has just absolutely terrorized every team en route. Downed as well as Execration, and only Sour and Rainbow are left. So Rogue will begin their execute. Sour will get siphoned off of the point inside of this Aqua Chamber. He's going to rely on Rainbow to get that kill as needed. Execration is bleeding out in a hurry and will likely be finished, and there goes Rainbow, just without a reach of Slash to his left. Can't see it because of the ACOG casing, and Sour puts 2 together, but Eclipse there and says, no sir, no thank you. Final kill from Rogue. And that is a 6-0 victory in what was, I think, one of the fastest matches that we've probably seen here on USN.
Yeah, it wasn't just a 6-0, it was a 6-0 in dominant fashion. Very quick rounds for that whole match. Despite Rogue being on defense, they were getting very aggressive, just peeking outside, and they managed to make that work in their favor. It was a nice try from Nomads. They put up a fight, they put up an effort, but it just wasn't enough. The question is, will they be able to do it now as we transition to map number 2?
Oh, I mean, it's Rogue's map. But if the previous series between C9 and Obey is any indicator, then the answer could possibly be no.
Yeah.
You know, Obey came out of the gates, struggled a little bit on Consulate, found their footing, and took Cloud9's map away from them. C9 came out, played quite well, had a bit of a tiny stumble, and then continued just plowing forward. And then they took Obey's map, came down to the tiebreaker. Problem is that first map was still a 6-3. We just saw a 6-0. And not just a 6-0, but quite a lopsided 6-0. And it's unfortunate because I like Nomads as a team. I think they're great guys, as I've said before. I've cheered them on in other leagues when we've seen them play in some of the amateur leagues. That didn't seem like the same Nomads that showed up. I don't know what it is, but that was not the team that I've seen before, and Rogue just absolutely ate them alive.
You know, it starts as a seed of doubt when you're going into a match like that. When you're the team that is considered to be the inferior. It starts as a seed of doubt. And that can either blossom into a full-blown tree of doubt, which will just, cast shadow over your entire match, or you could dig it up before it even starts, and you can get your foot in the ground and start working something in your favor. And that all has to do with, momentum, the mentality of a match. If you start a match off against Rogue and you've never played against them in this kind of environment before, and you're in a situation where you're the ones who have to prove everything, and you start with 2-round victories, you've dealt with it, man. You got that doubt out of your way. You can get the momentum going in your favor. You can play as the team you know you are. But if they start getting round after round after round, and that turns into a 6-0, I mean, somewhere in the middle of that, when Rogue starts peeking you everywhere, when you're still outside, when you're not checking for basic spawn peaks, the one in CEO facing towards the gas station spawn, that is, that's it's very common. Yes. All right. And when you start making those little mistakes, it isn't you thinking, this team is so much better than me at that point. It's you thinking something's going on. I cannot play like I normally do. This is like I'm missing my basics, and it all starts as a seed of doubt. And I think that it did blossom here for Nomads, but they can chop it down. They can move on to map number 2 if they have the capacity to reset. But that's on them.
Yeah, and I mean the other thing too is that if these teams have never matched up before, it's very difficult to know your style of play, as you said, right? And it's outside of maybe scrims. I don't know if these two teams have ever played each other. We might have to delve pretty deep into either old matches for qualifiers or exhibition matches, or possibly even in peripheral leagues to see if these two teams have competed, because they don't exist in the same orbit in the professional scene in terms of where the teams have been and what level of success they've achieved. So even there, that's going to be difficult for Nomads, because it's not like they can stack up against Rogue in the sense that they know Rogue really well. It's not like they know the back of, Rogue strats, the back of their hands, that kind of thing. Look at a team like Disrupt Gaming, DG. They might not play in the same league as Rogue or Evil Geniuses or Mouse, but they've played each other enough and have players that have been around enough that they likely know that style of play, and that is going to aid them. I don't know if you can say the same thing about Nomads in terms of past experiences playing against them.
Well, as the operator bans come out, Ying and Lion gone. Sensible bans, for sure. Especially considering what happened with Ying in that previous matchup. Rogue only had the one attack round, but it certainly worked. Interesting also because I believe Nomads was using Ying quite a lot, and here they are banning her. Now, Mira, the first defender gone, and we will see Nomads get the last defensive ban. Last time they banned Valkyrie, will they do it again is the question. No, it's going to be Pulse, so they're still clamping down on the information. They don't want to deal with C4 from below, but there will be other options for the defense, namely Valkyrie, if they want to try to blow up anybody from underneath.
Reason why they banned the Ying, I would assume, is yes, they did have a Ying played for them, is that before Nomads can attack, they have to go through 5 rounds of Rogue.
Yeah.
And we know that Rogue runs a Ying. We know that Rogue runs a Ying on Coastline quite a bit. So that's something that obviously has to factor in, saying, we probably play this too. Yeah, we might have a pretty good Ying player, sure. But at the end of the day, Do we want to deal with Ying for 5 rounds and possibly have Rogue use that to stack up a couple rounds against us? Probably not, no.
Solid no.
So let's get rid of that, and it's one of those things where it's, it's a self-inflicted wound, as I said earlier, but it's not a mortal wound, and I think that's the most important part.
Definitely agree with you there. So, kitchen defense as the first site for Nomads, and this is the go-to site for most teams, but we will usually see a start on not kitchen. It does happen where teams will start on kitchen, but for whatever reason, despite most teams loving to play here, as opposed to other sites, they leave it for their second or third, 9 times out of 10. Anyway, Nomads, not one of those teams. The operator selection, sensible, given the choices available. You don't have a mirror, which means what do you need? Well, you need to bring an Echo and a Maestro, because you're going to need to deny the defuse plant just inside of that B doorway. They've also brought the castle in an attempt to deny some of the angles, as well as a Jaeger to catch those grenades. Funny thing, that Jaeger is still the only defensive operator that counters grenades. Technically, Bandit can destroy them mid-air. If they hit they can hit a thing. A Bandit can do it, but Jaeger's the only one who's catching them.
I mean, that's one of the things that I think has been slowly getting addressed by the development of new operators, is that attackers have a lot of versatility. They can bring, Zofia, Buck, and Sledge can do similar roles if you want them to. Zofia obviously exists on a bit of an outside of that spectrum. Jackal with his secondary shotgun can, if in an absolute pinch, come in and do that. But the defense have a lot more unique operators that don't have a lot of overlap.
You figure that that versatility and that power that the attackers can exert on their opponents is the thought process behind Clash, because that would make sense. I mean, someone who can slow down the attack quite literally, and is able to present a little bit of an extra layer for the defenders. I don't know. It's just a thought, an errant thought, and we're back into the match.
I mean, I think, just to follow up on you, I think Clash definitely does bring something, but I mean, she also is another unique operator that without a Clash, you don't have another Clash available for you, right?
Yeah.
The same way that you have that overlap with a Bandit or a Mute for usually just,
Maestro Echo.
Maestro Echo fulfilling that similar role. For a while there, you had Mira and Smoke playing similar roles in their plant denial, even though they do widely different things and are not even close. So it's also the way the teams use it. Anywho, it's a kitchen defense here to start things off on Nomads, and what is typically seen as the most defendable site when a Mira is removed from action. And of course, Mira happens to be one of the operator bans. Shuttle is on 1 HP, it looks like.
Yeah, just about 1, maybe 2, possibly 3, but who's counting? And he will die to pretty much anything, as will most of the Rogue lineup. Look at that, Super and Easily both very lit up. Eclipse taking half of his damage in HP. Slash is in the sight right now, and the attempted plant from Easily will be successful. Great job to Rogue just walking in and planting the diffuser, despite the Maestro cams and the Echo drones, but they're losing so many bodies right now. It's all up to Slash in the 1 versus 4. He's going to take down Sour. There are defenders on the diffuser right now, sticking it though, and the cover is abundant, so Nomads will take their very first round in this series and in this map. Great job to them holding on to that kitchen, and they will be certainly happy about that. Did they chop down the tree? It might be the case.
Rogue got caught with their pants down in the post plant as they pivoted out of it.
Yeah.
You've got 4 people alive. You go for the plant. You get caught hard as you try to get out of the plant situation. I mean, that's difficult. And Rogue just not as thorough on being able to figure out where the offsite players are, didn't put any pressure really on any players, or operators rather, inside the site either, and those things are really detrimental when you're going for a plant.
They also not only got caught in that transition, but they lost so much damage before they could even get into the site. So much HP. They took so much damage. And because of that, you're going to die just like that. It's too easy, man. And it was a great job for Nomads, making Rogue feel the pain as they pushed in, and then, really finishing the job as they pushed out. Now, Double Bar, the next bomb site for the Nomads.
Not exactly usual to see Double Bar come up next. By the way, Team Ace for Nomad, worth pointing out there.
Oh, nice.
Excellent job to Nomads for that team ace, but
So it's also always cool to see.
always nice to see everybody really helping get in on the action there. Of course, with their utility, oof.
Oof, what happened?
Rainbow just got shot in the head, but there's lucky that there's a headshot multiplier for the Bailiff, or else that would have been an insta kill.
Yeah, headshots are not technically. I believe if you go really far away with like a SMG-11 and you put it like behind barricades and stuff like that, I think you can headshot someone and they won't die, but I'm not 100% sure.
Shotguns are just, you can,
I know
mean,
the
shotguns are, you can shoot if one pellet hits somebody in the head or one bullet hits somebody in the head, you're not going to die from a shotgun, and I think that's exactly what happened, but Rainbow taking a bit of damage there.
I'm also pretty sure that that has changed over time. Like that actual headshot multiplier has changed a few times. It's hard to tell though. I mean, the way that it works is ultimately, you're getting the headshot, you're getting the kill, period. You're going to be good, most of the time.
Yeah.
Now, double bar defense, Rogue coming in through delivery, otherwise known as service interest.
I don't even think Shuttle got droned there.
Yeah, he just kind of went for it. Honestly, that's how Rogue's been playing, man. They've just been going. And I think it's probably because it worked so well for them in the first map. And that's what they did. They just went. I mean, even on defense, they were peeking everything. So the expectation now for Rogue, I guess, is just, hey, we can take ground and win fights.
Yeah, I mean, they're playing a very frag-heavy game. Not as much information gathering, not as much intel for them, not relying as much on these calls, just going in, taking fights, and then just a lot of times winning on reflexes alone. And that, like you said, it could be working for Rogue because of the fact that Nomads are not prepared for it.
And I can't fault them. If it's working, it's working. That's just how it is. Slash, great droning right there, allowed him to establish there was somebody playing over by the double bar sandwich, opened up the wall, free kill. And from above, he does take quite a lot of damage, so that's a good job. I believe it was Thomas who was playing upstairs. Super's going to get Rainbow using a Maverick hole. We talked about this earlier. He just established, oh, what a run out from Thomas. He manages to finish the job on Slash, but easily will shut him down. Nomad's trying to keep the momentum, but it's just slipping away from them one body at a time. Great information here being established by Easily. He's going to call out to his team. Yep, there's somebody upstairs. Glitch inside of Sunrise Bar will get Shuttle from behind, and the push from the glass is made to pass the Toxic Babes, and it will miss. Glitch, another excellent kill, but he will finally go down to Easily, who pushes into the site. Great support from the rest of Rogue, and Super gets the final kill into Sour.
That's more like it for Rogue that we're used to seeing. They just swarmed them, and Super was allowed to exist upstairs just on his own. Maverick, as we said, living up to his namesake, being a Maverick, going on his own, doing as he wants to do, not really relying on anybody else. Mm-hmm. And we saw 2 kills from Super upstairs because of that. And Maverick is so quiet. That blowtorch, still silent but absolutely deadly, as it can just open up a tiny kill hole, and then he capitalizes on it, being able to finish off anybody on the other side.
Yeah, I was talking about it earlier with Maverick. Is it just, as an operator, he opens up these angles, and you just you cannot account for it because it's just there. Surprise! You can't hear it. How are you supposed to tell? And those reinforced walls in VIP wall to the main hallway, they were supposed to be the cover, the hard rock, the thing that as a player you don't need to think about. Because of that, there wasn't an abundance of information being placed inside of VIP. They could not tell that Maverick was making that push, which allowed for the free kill, essentially, for Super. And we saw something very similar happen, actually, with Slash, as he was moving in from the side entrance near Sunrise Bar. Mm-hmm. The Maestro completely exposed to the side entrance wall. And it's because he's not accounting for the angle, though that was just an oversight on his part. Wall wasn't even reinforced. Anyway, a great attack round for Rogue. Individual efforts bearing fruit. Nomads, on the other hand, struggling. Yet again, we're back to this.
Attackers recovered the diffuser. Attackers are heading
All
out
right.
to defuse a bomb.
Heading back down to the double bars, which once again kind of weird, as I mentioned last round. Usually you want to see Hookah, or I mean Hookah typically has the least amount of play, but then you'll usually see Penthouse Theater upstairs, which hasn't emerged at all, and that's really a big reason for these mirror bans, is that she makes it so much easier to defend that. Anywho, this glass change that is being tested on the TTS server, by the way, could have a pretty profound impact. For the time being, Glaz can shoot through the castle barricades but cannot destroy them. That was a change that came in a patch or two ago.
Yeah.
It was an unintended consequence of the changes, but I mean they kept it around because sometimes bugs become features, as is a famous saying in most of the tech world. Now the change is that Glaz can't shoot through them at all. So similar to every other operator, your bullets do absolutely nothing. First kill is going to go onto Rainbow. He is down for the count, and Shuttle with an abundance of ammo will take about 40 bullets to shoot out that camera inside of Aquarium as he takes up tons of space.
Sauer's feeling a lot of pressure right now from Shuttle, who's pushed up into his proximity. He's going to use that lifeline to disorient the castle, but he's already fallen back. You can see Legion of Thomas, who is going to quickly retreat down the blue stairs, leaving his teammate to his fate. Oh no, Sauer goes down. Eclipse with the shot. That was 3 attackers collapsing onto the roamer upstairs, and they just tore him apart. Now,
Slash jumping in through the window inside a kitchen. He'll take some damage from the goo mine, and they're just going to continuously get slowed down. The ceiling above, that's a breaching charge from Easily that will then be used by the rest of his team to try and figure out where that smoke is playing. Maestro, no more, see you later. And now it's just the Legion as well as the smoke. Thomas here under the window, he's going to get smoked out and pop right up, and he's going to eliminate the Glaz, but that's an easy trade-off for Easily. Pardon the pun. Glitch holding a tight angle under the double doors of Sunrise Bar. Above him, the ceiling will get blown, and, well, as he lost his shelter inside of the bar, just to the right of the door earlier, he had nowhere to go. Primed and ready at the door of Kitchen is Slash to give Rogue their second round in a row, and Rogue will take the first lead of this second map.
You know, it's really disheartening to see from Nomads right now is that in that round, what we saw was roamers on the top floor, right? And they had the positions well in hand. They had all of this control. It seemed like they were looking, well, like looking good to hold it out. But then what happened is those roamers accomplished absolutely nothing. And the way that Rogue nullified them was simple to, just incredibly simple, and simple to a fault. Rogue was very exposed as they were making that push, as they were trying to take in through billiards, from the hookah balcony, all these different locations. They were very exposed. There was opportunities there for Nomads to get a little aggressive, maybe peek an angle, maybe get a kill. But instead they chose to play it passive as possible, and not passive enough even. You know, trying to do it the 50-50 split where you're kind of connected to the top floor, but you're also kind of falling back. It does not work. You need to commit yourself to one decision. Are you going to fall back right now? Or are you going to try and stay and fight? Unfortunately, it just didn't work. It was the wrong call. Nomads half fell back, half stayed up. They lost a player because of it. They didn't waste very much time because of it. From there, Rogue were just in full control. They took that top floor, they used it to pressure the anchors, they came in through kitchen, they had a great hammer anvil strategy, and sweep up. Job's done.
I like the hammer and anvil comment to it, because that's definitely what it felt like.
Yeah.
It certainly did seem like that, and that was the same in the second round as well. It was a hammer and anvil as well, with Super being that hammer there, as he was able to just absolutely destroy the 2 members of Nomads that were playing above, while unbeknownst to them, the rest of their team underneath were getting shellacked.
The crazy thing is, the way that Rogue are executing these hammer anvil strategies is it's so singular in its nature, because it's all the individuals stacking up to do it. You know, right? They're all doing their own thing. They're playing as their own players, and like look at Super right now. He's droning himself into Sunrise Bar. That is a lack of teamwork right there. That's an opportunity potentially that Nomads could exploit. But Rogue are doing it so well because Nomads are allowing Rogue to do it. They are leaving themselves in the hands of Rogue. And that opportunity is being exploited to the fullest by Rogue. They're just like, hey, yeah, heck yeah, let's go for it. Let's play this as loose as we can because it's going to make it so much easier for us.
Already Rogue inside the building, took about a minute to go. Execration having an Echo drone off-site, as once again the kitchen site down below, as Nomads just going to go back and forth between these 2 sites without being particularly adventurous. Hitting the deck, but the fluorescent glow will be given away, and
it's a backpack.
Eclipse is just trying to light up Thomas. It'll take Slash to jump in, and they'll just absolutely double team him and then pulling out the PMM, a small magazine, but he just destroys Rainbow as he walks around the corner. So that's 2 members of the offside play from Nomads who will just get fed to this rogue machine as, after a bad start here on Coastline, it's business as usual for Rogue.
Yep. Just seems to be more of the same. What did they do? They cleared out the top floor. What are they doing now? They're setting up a top and horizontal push in tandem. And what do they have? One X Factor coming from the back. This is the same exact attack strategy they used on the double bar, but from different angles. The concept is just, you know, no different. Now, the whole setup here from Rogue is looking good. You can see that Maverick, this is a big thing. Maverick is allowed to play by himself in this hallway, and he is not being killed. He's not being challenged. There is nobody trying to fight him right now. Sour is playing the most passive angle possible to deny Super this push. But Super's not trying to push. He's trying to apply pressure, allowing for Slash and now Super, I guess, to get these kills as they push in through delivery. Sour now the last defender with the diffuser planted, and the round is over.
Nobody else has those reflexes, that poise, that concentration as Mr. 1.6 himself.
Stop.
He asked me to do this before
Really?
the match, yeah.
Did he actually?
He did. He told me yesterday that he wants me to pump up his finesse, his flexibility, his I believe, poise, concentration, his athleticism. I think he's going for like a Dr. Disrespect kind of thing in his image, fully embracing the villain role that he seems to have almost reluctantly found himself in. But I mean,
I don't think he's reluctantly. I think he's cultivated it. If he's telling you to say these things.
I mean, he told me, he said that he wanted to, his exact words were, mention that I spend 2 minutes of every round on drones, open one panel up, and then plant the diffuser or die, and mention that, please. And I was like, all right. Well, I got you, Seth.
He hasn't been doing any of that throughout this match.
Oh, he's been fragging quite well.
Yeah, he's been solo entering as the Mav, coming from off angles and always doing damage. So props to him for that.
The biggest thing that's been happening over the last couple rounds, and this is something that we pointed out in the very first round, was that Rogue was just kind of sprinting in and trying to fight and not really doing their homework as to where Nomads is. So what changed? Well, Rogue started going on drones. They started communicating with each other, and they started splitting up where the members of their team were. And a big reason why Rogue has seen such success over the last 3 rounds is because of the fact that they're pushing with each other while having somebody else push off-site. And that's usually been Super. They've been pinching so well, and these early picks that we saw from Nomad in round 1, yeah, they haven't really been coming over the last 3 rounds at all because Rogue is knowing where they are and are getting to them first.
The attack strategy from Rogue has been pretty much the same throughout all of these rounds. They've been attacking the bottom floor for 4 rounds now. This is the first time they're going to be attacking the top floor. So on the bottom floor attacks, they clear the top to get rid of the roamers upstairs. Once they've cleared the top, they isolate it, they open up a bunch of holes, but they don't use it too much. Then they transition most of their attack strategy to their frontal assault, and they put one player on the flank to distract, disorient, and kill. And it works out great for them. And it does not seem like Nomads is able to deal with it. Anyway, now they're attacking a top floor. This is the first time this has happened. And it's going to be billiards. Super's going to be moving his way into VIP. Look at the emphasis that was placed on holding VIP. A Valkyrie camera, so they're going to know Maverick's here. They're going to expect holes to be opened. That is huge. That is what we were talking about earlier when we were talking about the Maverick ban that we saw. You ban him because then you don't have to put that Valkyrie cam there. Sour will go down to Eclipse, but again, Super is going to be exposed. So he probably shouldn't get anything done from here. And there you go. He gets eliminated. Great cam placement, great information for Nomads. And that is a huge element of the Rogue attack that has been isolated and then eliminated.
And very close to getting these castle barricades down. I'm not certain if they lack enough of that soft destruction. They do have shuttle available, but I think they're going to try to conserve his impact from the lifeline and possibly using it in other avenues, unless they've already used it on possibly taking out barbed wire or anything of that sort. Second Valkyrie camera will get spotted by Eclipse, and that is out of action. Every single lifeline, for what it's worth, has been used by /2, so any phones that are still ringing would suggest that it's just somebody from Nomads who has yet to silence them. You're also going to see that Thomas is playing with this Alda all the way over on Cool Vibe Stairs. That's a smart place to be, as it's very difficult for you to get shot, obviously, around those impenetrable stairs, and then you've got the sight advantage as well if he's running an ACOG on it. There goes Execration, as the second fatality from Nomads will be lined up. Super, the only member of Rogue, down, and there's going to be some full smoke coverage as the plant of Easily tries to go down. No Super, of course, to plant the bomb for his team, so it'll be all up to Easily. A big rotate here from the Zofia as well, heading over towards the luggage side of things, and Eclipse is just daring someone to peek around him. You still see the rotate coming in. Shuttle is possibly in a position to go for a really nice pinch. The smoke of Glitch playing very tight behind that reinforcement. Here comes Shuttle. Still almost completely silent. Glitch is going to reveal himself for just a second. Thomas is down. 2 kills for Thomas, actually, as Slash and Easily are there, but he cannot outduel the other LMG on the board, which will be Shuttle's. Held in his hand the Zofia, who spent about 30 seconds creeping up to the site, will close things out in this first half, and it's 4-1 for Rogue.
Yeah, so they lost a single round, but they still look ready to lock this out in a 2-0. As they transition over to the defense, the big thing to keep in mind is now that Nomads do not need to worry about the momentum that Rogue are setting, because that has been a large advantage Rogue has maintained throughout this match so far, is the ability to set the momentum because, or by virtue of attack. That was just the nature of the beast, really. Now they cannot do that. However, as was demonstrated on Consulate, Rogue is keen to pawn. I almost said pawn speak.
I just heard what you said, and I was like, I don't understand what word that is.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Rogue are poised to pawn speak. And I was like, I'm sorry?
I was so close to pawn speak.
They don't have cameras on us all the time, but I just did like the whatever the
shock face.
What is it? The hamster or whatever? The gremlin, the one that like just turns over
I think it's like a gerbil.
A gerbil or something like that.
Yeah.
It's just looks over in surprise.
Yeah.
Is that like standing here like writing down on my notebook about the previous round, and you're like Ponspa?
But they do not converse with pawns. So,
like as in ponds, as in like a body
pawn speak?
A body of water?
No, pawn, P-A-W-N.
Like
on chess. Yeah.
Yes.
Like a pawn. Like
yes,
I would like somebody. You have become my pawn. Like that.
No, I got it. Oh, I got it.
Did you get it?
I got it now. So
they don't converse with pawns.
Michael, let's focus on the game.
What game?
This game right here.
Oh, shoot, there's a game.
Nomads on attack right now, and Thomas bringing out the Montaigne. As for Nomads, the rest of their strategy is lots of utility on the board for them. Capitao with his asphyxiating bolts and smokes. You've got the Maverick as well, who can go and off and push on his own should he needs an escort. Interesting to see if Sauer's going to be running the LMG as well on Zofia. And then, of course, you've got your hard breacher of Hibana.
Looks like a run out from Eclipse. Did I predict this, or did I predict it? Answer is I predicted it. Rogue are just going to get aggressive on defense the same way they did on Consulate. Fun stuff. Diffuser's down, and there's no Maverick anymore.
And that was pretty damning because you could see that Execration was expecting it. He immediately looked towards the door right as the castle got up close. And it could have been an easy situation, but when you're on those rappel lines, you're so vulnerable.
Yeah, the thing that really blows my mind is that it wasn't just like a prepped an open door. It was the guy he used what is it, F to break the door as a defender with the crowbar and everything. That makes so much noise, man. If he had just rappelled upside down, ADS and pre-fired, then you don't die then. Well, whatever the case, it was damning indeed, and a very definitive engagement for Eclipse. Either way, nothing's happened since. Nomads seem to be slowing down in response to this aggression, and Rogue seems to be aware that they need to wait, because if you try to push into a team that's expecting you to push them, then you're gonna die. So, yeah. I say that as Glitch eats some fire from below.
So, Glitch returning some fire from above onto Easily. Shuttle finds his victim in Rainbow, and Nomads will be left with 2 operators fully functional and then a Montaigne. And of course, we don't want to discredit what Montaignes bring to the team, but when you're trying to consider, warm bodies, a Montaigne usually doesn't factor in because it's very difficult for you to be able to get a kill with it. Sour will eliminate Easily, He's made his way inside of Aqua, now heads towards turns towards Luggage, and now heads over towards the stairwell. The Montaigne will fall. As you can see, Shuttle will literally knife trade. They will knife trade each other. Okay, you don't see that every single day. But with the final 30 seconds, Nomads, even though 2 members of their team are very low on HP, this is still a winnable prospect for them. First obstacle is going to be Super playing inside of Office. He's going to miss his shots and get lured out by Glitch and jumped on by the Hibana. You've still got the Zofia with the LMG, so tons of suppressing fire. And, well, would you look at that. Mark's coming out, Slash is here, and they need to get the plant down. But there goes Sour, and there goes Glitch. 2 kills for Rogue, and they'll go to match point. Excellent job from Rogue, and they are 1 round away from a spot at the U.S. Nationals Finals.
Yeah, they look like they're going to get it based on the current results of this match. We're not going to be able to find out until we get the game reset. Just a quick jiffy, we'll get that done. But yeah, a little bit of aggression from Rogue early on. It set the mentality in Nomads that Rogue is going to peak everything, and then Nomads slowed down. Rogue didn't peak anything, then they started to peak things again once Nomads started pushing. The time management from Rogue, and not just in terms of delaying their opponents, but engaging their opponents when they're being pushed and when they need to get aggressive, is about as perfect as it can get in this match. Now, it might be because Nomads is somewhat predictable right now. Either way, Rogue have been playing well, and that's the main takeaway from this. Nomads have been struggling a little bit here, and yeah, that's why you have a 5-1, 6-0 situation, and we're looking at a 6-1 unless Nomads can change something in this brief pause.
I mean, they won the 1 round, and that's it. That was at the start of Coastline, and things looked like they were kind of going their way. But then I think it was also capitalization on some mistakes that Rogue made.
True.
Being able to really make the most of a good situation. And then Rogue turned around, and I think they tightened it up quite a bit. And then we saw it fall into place. They started droning better. They started sending off different members of their team to push appropriately rather than just have everybody attack in a very linear direction. And then so far on defense, well, I'm going to be honest with you. That defense was a little bit closer than the score is going to suggest. And even though Rogue did take it on Hookah, well, it was Nomads giving probably their best shot at a round since the first round overall.
Yeah, but the thing is, you're right. Nomads came close that round. But I would point a finger at Rogue and be like, it's because they were playing silly. I mean, easily, he rotated his way into Aquarium, and he played behind the Aquarium bar, and he just died, right? He did not need to be there. He wasn't playing there for most of the round. Most of the round, he was over by the mini bar inside of Billiards. And that was a very powerful position. Had he stayed there, he could have done a lot more work in the round, but instead he decided to take a risk. And many other risks were taken by Rogue in that round. That's just one of them as an example. But my point here is, I feel as though if Rogue were not taking those risks, it would be a complete shutout. That's what I'm seeing from this match. And even when Nomads came close in that round, it just didn't seem like they were going to be able to make it work in that 2 versus 2.
Yeah. And now everything is going to hinge on these next 2 minutes of action. I don't think Eclipse is aware how close he is to Sour. He's easily distracted by this Capitao on Repel, or the Hibana on Repel, rather. And there is Eclipse. He's playing up top where usually that porcelain vase would sit, and Eclipse is able to eliminate Sour. And Super there as well, and everything's going to fall apart. Eclipse now still on a tear, takes out Thomas, and hard to believe it's only 90 seconds in with both Glitch and Rainbow. There you go. This could be an impactless frag for Rainbow, though. His shuttle just looks the wrong way, heading towards the window that's positioned over the main stairs in the main lobby. But he's pinned down now in VIP. And he's got 2 angry members of Rogue not too far off from him. He still has all of his utility available. And yet, you also see that Glitch is still on the exact same spot. Unable to control all the bursts of that recoil, Eclipse will eliminate Rainbow, and it's all up to Glitch in a 1v4 set of circumstances. The playoff spot at LAN is on the line for Rogue, and all they need to do is just ensure that they trade properly. Slash will kill Eclipse. I don't know if that was a failed reset or not.
It was a headshot.
It was a beautiful shot, apparently, and then look at that. Doubling up, hungry for the kill. That'll be a 6-0 and a 6-1 for Rogue, who will walk themselves to the USN Finals in the fall.
Great job to Rogue, doing as I think most of us expected, and a pretty dominant performance. I'm sure that they're upset it was not 2 6-0s.
Yeah, I mean, that one round right there is that one round right there is really is not really a proper representation of this matchup. There were a couple rounds where I think Nomads were within striking distance, but tough.
So, Rogue with the victory, and almost 2 rounds for Nomads. But you know, Parker touched on it earlier. From what I know about Nomads, this just didn't seem like them today. We've seen this type of performance before from teams where they've just struggled because sometimes you just don't expect the kind of aggression that you're getting from your opponents.